Hey guys, welcome back to another Hardware Canucks review. We are checking out this stylish and elegant mini ITX case from BitFenix, the Prodigy. Enough of the plain and boring black boxes mini ITX cases usually reassemble. So here we have a breath of fresh air amongst the competition. And the black version is also available with minor changes to the exterior. You are expected to pay around $80 for this one, which is pretty decent considering the aesthetics and its internal functions. But despite its small form factor, the chassis is actually quite large when compared to the standard mini ITX cases, so make sure to double check the dimensions prior taking out your wallet. But BitFenix is targeting this towards an enthusiast market, which helps to explain its relatively larger size. So let's dive right in. The exterior is a combination of steel and plastic, which does have the soft touch treatment that we are so familiar with. The front panel has one optical bay and a black bezel that incorporates the venting strips. Unfortunately, this design practically chokes the front intake fan, and I wish they kept the same meshed panel that is found on the black version of the same case. And behind the panel we find a variety of fan mounting options. BitFenix includes 120mm fan for the front, but ideally if you are cooling on air, it is designed for larger fans, something around 180, 200 or a 230mm fan. Alright, the handles are the next part. They can be used to transport and they seem relatively strong, but they are a bit too flexible. I'm not gonna lie, that does bother me a little bit, and I would have preferred something a lot more solid. But after working with the case, the handles should have no issues transporting a fully loaded system. And the bottom features the same type of flexible feet, which makes the case prone to sliding and wobbling. And the top has dual dust filter that clips in and can easily be removed for cleaning, and you can mount dual 120mm fans or even a radiator. Unfortunately, if you do mount the second fan closer to the front, you will not have clearance for the optical drive. And I wish the design in this case allowed fan mounts above the frame without compromising on its stylish appeal. And it would also allow an optical drive to be installed. Now, strangely, all the front panel connectors are located on the side door, which helps to keep the front clean but limits the orientation of the case while in use. So the placement of these connections is really impractical, and we want to see them move to the front where they belong. But here we have the power and the reset buttons, the headphone and microphone jacks, and two USB 3 ports which can be connected through the 20-pin or the USB 2 plug. The side panel can also mount two SSDs. It's not the most comfortable location for wiring, but still a good spot for additional drives. The other side panel has dedicated venting holes for your graphics card, so you can pull air from the outside. This is very much needed as the graphics card practically touches the side panel. At the back we have an exhaust for both 120 and 140mm fans, two expansion slots, I/O area, and a bottom mounted power supply with a removable dust filter. Now finally, taking a look inside the Prodigy, we have the hard drive cage with 5 toolless brackets that are SSD compatible. The cage is modular, so it can be removed simply by pulling it out. No need for that screwdriver. And this would allow for a beefy graphics card to be installed, as we have clearance up to 12 inches. This is pretty impressive for an ITX case, and this is also one of the reasons the Prodigy is so large. The power supply cage has cable cutouts all around, but has clearance only for power supplies up to 160mm. Even then it's a tighter fit. I would have liked to see the power supply bracket that allows longer units to be installed, and for this reason our Silverstone unit didn't exactly properly fit into the Prodigy. The included front intake fan is mostly blocked by the drive cage, so installing a 140mm fan would allow a more direct airflow towards your main components. And as mentioned earlier, the drive cage is modular. It can either be removed or rotated, and if you do decide to completely remove the hard drive cage, you have the options to install 3 2.5-inch drives inside the case. 2 in the power supply cage, mounting and removal of which will become problematic, and 1 more on the bottom of the case. Now the reasons you might want to remove the optical mount and the entire drive cage is for water cooling. To my surprise, you can fit 240mm radiators, 1 at the top and 1 at the front. Of course, this means losing out on the optical drive if the rad is on the top, and sacrificing the entire drive cage is not very appealing if you do decide to install the rad at the front. So finally, putting in our mini Itx board, CPU coolers up to 175mm are okay. but many people have raised the issue of not having clearance for the CPU backplate, as the motherboard standoffs are a bit too short. So BitFenix should step it up in quality control department to not turn off its customers. And finally, closing the side panel, this is another disadvantage of having all those front cable connections on the side panel. And that's just the wiring becomes really awkward, and we really wish BitFenix just gets it right next time with the front panel. And so partially assembled, our triple slot graphics card wouldn't fit, our power supply was a bit too long, but in terms of cabling, Prodigy stacks up quite well, and I can definitely imagine a clean and powerful build that could be used for LAN parties or just regular home use. So to wrap it up, Prodigy brings to the table a very stylish and elegant chassis that can house all of the enthusiast hardware with long graphics cards and 240mm radiators. We have plenty of storage capacity, and it's a relatively small stature that allows easy portability, and all that at a reasonable and a very competitive price that consumers will find appealing. However, on the flip side, airflow for the Arctic White version drastically suffers because of the front panel and practically chokes the front intake. And you already know my opinion about the front panel connectors that are located on the side panel, and that's really terrible placement. And they should have included a power supply bracket that allows longer units to be installed. But overall, it's a unique case that has a lot of potential for a decent system, and we're giving it the Hardware Canucks damn good value award, and really hope BitFenix further improves their game when it comes to design and quality control. And that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next one.